What's up, everybody? It's Dominic D'Angelo. It's Rumor and Innuendo. It's a Thursday, so we're talking the Dynamite. We're talking a lot of different stuff, actually, today. It's running wild, Robert. And I'm here with Robert Karpelis, WE Creative _ish. How you doing today, man?
Man, I feel like it has been like a week since we last spoke.
Jeez, yes.
There's a lot of stuff going on. I got landscapers outside the house right now. Big day. A lot of fun things to talk about. We'll start the show, the episode. I guess first by saying hi to some of the folks that are joining us here live. Jake. Good morning, all. Hopefully, there's more than one long topic today. LOL. Yeah, we've got more than one thing to talk about, but that'll be a pretty healthy conversation on one of those. Christopher Zanto, good morning, folks. Let's make this happen. And Dre Owens, good morning. Where do they go with the international title? Garcia's time. Yeah, we'll be talking AEW Dynamite. We're talking a couple of the news things. I do want to plug at the top of the show something I've been looking forward to for weeks and weeks and weeks. And it finally dropped today. My working stiff co-host, Dan, as the lawnmower goes right by, Dan St. Germain had recorded an episode of WTF with Mark Maron. And we've been waiting for it to come patiently. We didn't know what day or week it was going to drop. And he's like, let's not reveal the surprise in advance. It is finally available now. It came out this morning, just about to start listening to it. But we are here recording this. So cool. Go out of your way to go support him and go check that out. WTF with Mark Maron, one of the few podcasts out there not produced by Dominic D'Angelo.
That's correct. No, maybe someday. We'll see. I have connects.
Let's hope not. I enjoy that show too much.
I'm just gonna rip on myself, but we'll just continue on. It's let's talk the Dynamite, Robert. Yeah, opened the show. We had MJF, Will Ospreay for the International Championship in Hot Tamale. It went just about 60 minutes.
Did you just say Hot Tamale?
Yeah, I did say Hot Tamale. It's hot in here. I have to close my windows because I too have landscapers outside, but not on my behalf. So I'm gonna be.
Are they in spite of you? Is there like a spite landscaping situation going on?
I don't think my landlord owns that lot over there that's being landscaped. So I think it's a rival, maybe.
This is my landscaper, so I've been hoisted on my own petard here.
Oh no!
If I went out there and actually just mowed the damn thing on my own, I'd be able to regulate when he was here. But I don't. It's also 98 degrees outside right now. So good on him for doing that. Good on you for steering this ship down. This has been an odd 3 minutes of this episode.
It really has.
But also switched from one drink to another.
I know. This is water. This is not Prime. This is water inside here. I just filled it up. So
you're kayfabing it with a Prime bottle?
I'm kayfabing it. Yeah, I drank it this morning already. So
all right. Well,
been a busy one. Let's get to it.
So here's the deal. We're going to get this. I promise, guys. This is a real show. This is a real episode. I don't know what's going on. Dom's hat may be on a little too tight. But, yeah, the Dynamite last night, Dynamite 250.
Mm-hmm.
And, wow. That's kind of the response I had from watching that episode of television, Dom. I'm curious, what did you think of the first hour of Dynamite?
I absolutely loved it. I did. I thought it was great, compelling wrestling television. And I liked the story that it played out at the end. The conflicted Ospreay furthers him as just even like this moral compass babyface, where you have that good contrast to him in MJF as the ultimate heel that will be advantageous at any opportunity he can get, and he did. And I almost accepted too, like fully as just it being okay with it being on television. I know you want the big match to happen at a pay-per-view, and I know that's kind of like you want to make them feel like a big deal. But I think if AEW handles this whole match correctly as the show and the company progresses, they position it in the right way. This particular match throughout the history of time, this can always seem like a big deal. So, but I want to get your take, Robert, obviously.
I think you know where my take is going to go on this. We talked about it yesterday, and I said one of three things were most likely going to happen. Either we were going to get the match, and it was going to be a quick schmoz. We were going to tease the match, and we weren't going to get it, or we were going to get a match that over-delivered. And I would say a 59-minute and 58-second match on television certainly over-delivered. And I could tell from the opening minute of this, oh no, this is going long. The stalling tactics, the Fargo strut, a lot of the Memphis rolling out of the ring and all that. I'm like, oh, we're pacing ourselves for a long one. And then they did all the moves. We got everything you possibly could want to see out of MJF and Will Ospreay in this match. It was probably will win TV match of the year, free match of the year, could be a contender for an actual match of the year, depending on how the wind blows. But I'm still beyond baffled that we gave this away for free. The reason why I'm so surprised about this, and it continued to be now even a day later, is that was absolutely worth every penny that you would have paid for a pay-per-view.
100%, yes, it was.
I don't know who didn't tune in for this episode of Dynamite that would have tuned in otherwise. I think it's like, yeah, if you tell people you're going to give them MJF and Ospreay, they're going to show up. They're going to be excited to watch it. But so, like that's kind of so you're going to get the rating that you would have probably gotten anyway, because you were already advertising Kazuchika Okada versus Swerve Strickland. You were already advertising that it's the 250th episode of Dynamite. You were already advertising that you were going to get a Mercedes Moné match. You were already advertising you were going to see the next step of what was going on with Mariah May and Tony Storm. We're also already advertising the Jericho thing, but that's beside the point. I don't know that giving this away for free was the right decision. It was excellent if you're a fan. You tune in, you got a hell of a show. You got a hell of a first hour of television last night. Those guys did not hold back at all. But it was their first ever meeting. That has value to it. And now when there is a rematch, it'll be good, but it'll be different.
I think it has to be, for sure. It has to be different. You can make that part of a stipulation. You could do something like that. But yeah, you make, obviously it's extremely compelling cases. Why not have this on television? I think the only argument I could kind of push back if I'm playing devil's advocate is you look at the matches that we've had in the past, that why you give the infamous one of why you gave this away on television, Goldberg versus Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan's such a huge name. The time period for it all being 1998 and a big wrestling boom period. Goldberg was just a big star on the rise. Horrible decision for WCW to do that. The only thing that you can kind of make an argument for, people even now aren't as familiar with Will Ospreay as what he's done for a background. So if you're positioning him on a wider audience, casting a big net and showing, hey, this is the next big rivalry to kind of look out for is Ospreay versus MJF, I can kind of accept that. I don't know if that's what AEW is necessarily thinking when they were doing this, but it could be just an after effect of it all. So, but yeah, Robert, it's like you already had a whole already stacked card for this. You had Swerve, you had Okada, you mentioned it, Mercedes Moné, Mariah May, all this kind of stuff. Plus the simple aspect that it's 250 episodes. You can still do something big on there. So yeah, it's the in between a little bit, I think,
I'm curious to see what the rating winds up bearing. I said, if you're doing this type of match, you want to see this close to 1 million views. And I think that the possibility of Dynamite drawing over 1 million views may have sailed for a little while. And I really hope I'm wrong about that, because I think these guys absolutely deserved every eyeball of every person who tuned in.
Yeah.
Andrew Hermes makes a point that I was about to make, which is the title they're fighting over is beneath both of them. So it's certainly beneath MJF. I would say that it's not necessarily beneath Will Ospreay, simply by the fact that he is still new to the company.
Yeah.
And as a new guy, hey, you're trying to go climb the ladder the way that AEW operates. But you have Okada with a title that doesn't seem to mean a whole hell of a lot.
Yeah.
You've got now MJF, who was your world champion, who came back saying his one goal was to get back his world title. And now he's got this international title, I guess solely to lose it to Danny Garcia at All In,
I guess.
which feels like such a lukewarm match.
Yes.
This match, yes, you're trying to elevate the title with it. I get that. But this match deserved a massive spectacle, large audience, what have you. And when you're trying to draw people into paying for your pay-per-views, because that is your source of revenue, you can't be given an hour-long match away for free. And I know I sound like I'm like the guy ruining Christmas and taking all these things from you, but this is a first ever meeting between the two guys who were essentially hopefully your future Rock Austin.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, it over-delivered, which is great, but what does it get AEW going forward? It's going to get you MJF versus Daniel Garcia at All In. It's going to get the further conflicted Ospreay, who we knew was conflicted, who we saw lose clean or clean-ish at the pay-per-view,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's losing again. We're burning through storylines here. Burning through them quickly.
And that's a great point too, Robert, is like, if you think about, imagine it being on the platform of All In at Wembley Stadium, like having that match where it's just like, holy smokes. And then the big, thing about AEW pay-per-view cards, that there's so many freaking matches. You have an hour-long match there. You don't need that many matches to make up for that or to, do anything like that. So it would have been really cool to see on that kind of huge atmosphere under those lights. And I think with what you could do with those guys in between that time, you could still make work. Now you have MJF, likely it seems, probably going against Daniel Garcia at All In, and it feels lesser than right now.
It does feel lesser than. I get you're trying, we're going to elevate Danny Garcia. They have not proven that they're really capable of doing that with a lot of their talent. I mean, Jericho was sort of the guy they used for Garcia, for Ricky Starks, for Orange Cassidy, for my poor Action Andretti.
Oh, man, I forgot about
that. Exactly. And so it's like, just beating the guy doesn't necessarily do it or correct everything.
Mm-hmm.
This was an incredible match that obviously was going to be an incredible match that you didn't. I just doing it for an hour and giving away kind of everything. It's like there's a swath of people who might not pay to see this rematch because they feel like, man, we just got our money's worth, and I'll wait and see. And if I hear that the rematch was just as good as the first one, I'll go out of my way to go check it out. Right. But the wrestling fan who only watches just for, I want 5-star matches, I want 6-star matches, is a smaller percentage of the overall audience.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, Andrew makes another good question here. Is it fair criticism to say the Ospreay MJF match lacked the proper story that the match warranted based on its significance, story leading into it specifically? Yeah,
absolutely.
I think so. Yeah, 100%.
These guys going into a white hot story and then delivering this kind of match where you really want to see Ospreay shut MJF up, where you really want to see Ospreay run circles around this guy and make him regret ever challenging him. Makes total sense. Instead, it was Max, who literally just turned heel 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Wrestling Ospreay, who was just coming off of the swerve match and feels like he's got a couple different directions. Thankfully, no Don Callis family. That may be the only true saving grace that was there. This was a remarkable match. I'm sure a lot of people are going to go out of the way to go watch it a second time. Mm-hmm. So many little fun moments in this match. These guys absolutely knocked it out of the park. Home run, grand slam. What's next?
What is next? And yeah, you painted yourself into a bit of a corner with that too. Especially if you're promoting MJF versus Daniel Garcia, where it's like, hey, we saw what we wanted to see out of both these guys, and like, let's get a little bit more out of that. And But now it's going to be like, okay, this is going to seem second place to it all. So
and the people who want to say this is, we're just unnecessarily negative about AEW. If anything, I'm giving them more of a compliment than possible by saying, like, this was your big epic WrestleMania main event style match that everybody wanted to see going into it. If WWE turned around and said, hey, the SmackDown after SummerSlam, we're doing Rock and Roman, I'd blow my top. I'd be like, are you out of your friggin' mind?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Eric makes a great point. Does this mean it's Pac versus MJF since Pac won the 4-way last week? This is so confusing.
God. Yeah, so Pac won. Thank you, Eric, for being the guy. You're the continuity guy.
Yeah.
Keeping track of what's going on here. Yes, Pac won, and he's like, I'm going to get to my Wembley moment or whatever. I don't know that it's clear that he's going to get to cash in at Wembley when it feels like your directive here is to get to MJF, Daniel Garcia. I get wanting to give Pac a moment at Wembley. He definitely, in a lot of ways, deserves it. But a triple threat feels like a watered down thing. You're certainly not going to do a 4-way. And what are you going to do with Ospreay between now and then? Because it's not even like the Don Callis family can strike out and say, we're going to get revenge on Ospreay. And that's kind of where I thought this was ultimately going to go, that he would have failed to win the world title. And then you turn the Don Callis family onto him. But Hobbs is on the shelf injured. Trent is on the shelf injured. I'm trying to think. Fletcher's still active. He's still wrestling. And then you have Takeshita, who I honestly don't even remember where Takeshita is at the moment.
Yeah.
If he's competing in a tournament somewhere, if he's hurt, if he's on, God forbid, Collision.
Who knows?
Floating off in the ether in the distance in the middle of nowhere. We just spent a good portion of our show talking about one match.
One match. That's it. Hey,
Other stuff happened on Dynamite, I think.
Robert, yeah. So I did not get to see Swerve versus Okada. And I knew in our group text you had some stuff to say about it, but I didn't even read it because I wanted your opinion here.
Yeah.
So give me your thoughts. What did this closed out the show? What do you think transpired and how do you think it went?
It was a very good match. It was what I kind of predicted yesterday. They weren't going to give you everything. They weren't going to open the full bag of tricks, but the little tastes that you got made you want to see a rematch between Swerve and Okada at some point down the road. There were some moments in there. These guys demonstrated tremendous chemistry with each other, and we got the schmaz finish. Mm-hmm. Everybody came running out. It felt like the end of an episode of Raw. It's, oh no, here comes the Elite. Oh no, here comes the Acclaimed. It's Mark Briscoe. It's Hangman. And oh my God, it's the return of Darby. We'll see you next week. Thanks, folks. Love it.
Okay.
Love it. Absolutely. Like that is, now you're like, I can't wait to see Blood and Guts because these guys now have a story. We've teased it. It was like the go home before the Rumble when the ring fills up. And my God, Andrew Hermes, I don't know if this is real or not, by the way. But he said FTR fought Fletcher and Takeshita this past week on Collision.
Wow.
I'm not going to research that and check it. But if that is true,
he's a research guy, Andrew is, so he knows his stuff.
Oh well, there we go. I'm glad we got a crack staff of people tuning in here. The other stuff on Dynamite, just briefly, was Mercedes Moné beating Nyla Rose.
Yep,
fine. The thing after with Britt Baker wearing the Sting mask. Yes, we've seen it, but it was cute and it worked. The Learning Tree segment happened.
Yes, with Suzuki.
That was your big. That was another weird one.
Yeah.
So you're the way Chris's promo was going is like, if you don't listen to the Learning Tree, you're going to wind up on the shelf. You're going to wind up wiped out. You're going to wind up gone. We saw what happened to Shibata. Gone. Saw what happened to Hook. Gone. Saw what happened to Samoa Joe. Gone. You would have to be the craziest man in the world to step to me. And in my mind, I'm thinking, oh my God, are we actually finding a way to utilize Chris Jericho to get somebody new over? Because whoever comes out, whoever is the crazy son of a bitch that's going to step to this man that has injured literally everybody, and it's Suzuki. who's not a part of this company, whom we've seen wrestle a number of times, who had already called out Chris Jericho. He goes out there, he lays out Jericho, and then Big Bill and Brian Keith, your favorite, have no clue what the hell to do, and they're just standing there.
Yeah. On top of it too, Robert, I love Suzuki, and I love the kind of presence he has, like just all the kind of stuff that he does. But if you're a fan that's new, that is tuning in, you see this guy, you're not familiar with him, you're just like, who the hell is this? Why is he on television? Why is he doing this? Because you're not familiar with who he is. AEW really has basically done nothing to get Suzuki over to a casual audience. And so seeing him against Jericho, it's just like, all right, why this guy looks weird. That's kind of it, and I think that also is counterproductive in what they're trying to do here. So
I mean, I don't doubt the majority of the audience is familiar, at least to some degree, with Suzuki. He's been on at least AEW programming enough that you have a casual understanding of who this guy is. But
if you watch it, though, I'm saying if you
right,
don't,
no, if you do, but that spotlight, that moment, felt like you could have made somebody.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who you could have used. They have a roster of 730 people.
Yep.
You could have looked down there and picked someone to go out and step to Jericho and his crew. I'm sure the match with Suzuki and Jericho will be just fine. But I feel like that was a plum position to really, make somebody new, and they didn't do it. They tried with the Mariah May promo.
Mm-hmm.
She's got great presence.
Yep.
The crowd in Little Rock, Arkansas did not realize that was not Toni Storm.
Yep.
For way too long. And speaking of way too long, her promo just kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going. And then it kept going. An editor would have been perfect for that. This idea that she's dressing like Toni Storm now, that she wants to make her proud, that it is all about her. Love it. Love it all, sold American style. The little tweaks that could have been done to make this better were perfect. But yeah, that thing just kept going on and on and on. And guys,
I knew it.
If you're looking to go on and on and on, can we recommend our friends at Blue Chew? This episode is sponsored by Blue Chew. If you want to be as hard as the summer day is long, then get yourself a Blue Chew and bring the summer heat. Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra, but at a fraction of the cost and in chewable form. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Blue Chew tablets are made in the USA and prepared and shipped directly to your door. And if you've been watching the news this week, you may think that the USA is screwed, but they're not screwed as hard as your partner will be, because Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. Discover your options at BlueChew.com. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code RUMOR at checkout. Just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code RUMOR, to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring this episode of Rumor and Innuendo. Yes. Dom, that was your softball to our next story that we will very briefly touch on.
That's right.
As I said, our country may be screwed. And then,
hey, the Republican National Convention will be culminated tonight by a speech by Donald Trump, the presidential candidate.
WWE Hall of Famer.
Correct. Hey, but he's got another WWE Hall of Famer apparently joining him. NBC News and other outlets reported today that Hulk Hogan will be making a speech at the Republican National Convention before Donald Trump. Hogan went on social media to comment about the assassination attempt that happened on Saturday. Expressed his disgust with it. Says it should never happen to anybody there, and hope the best. His prayers for everybody, Secret Service, Trump, and everybody there. Pretty surprising, Robert. Wrestling, we already had pro wrestling ties with Trump there. Now we're getting an extra added addition here to the Republican National Convention.
So I remember years and years ago when there was the SmackDown Your Vote, which was a non-political event that you had WWE presence at the Republican National Convention, the Democratic National Convention, and they were there just sort of as, we're not taking sides, we just want to encourage the youth to vote. This year is Hogan, full-throated endorsement of Donald Trump, going out there at the Republican National Convention to deliver a speech. I just, wow. This week, we don't talk politics here because I like you as an audience, and you'll hate me if you hear me talk about politics. We do that on Working Stiff, and we get into the weeds sometimes on that. But here we're nice, happy, fun people talking about all the exciting things that happen in wrestling. We're let's not go that far. But seeing Hogan deliver a speech, half the audience is going to wait for him to rip his shirt off. The other half of the audience is going to wait for him to accidentally say a racial slur, and everyone's just going to have a grand old time. It is a cartoon character going out on television to go introduce a former president who's running for technical reelection. It's a weird way to frame this. But yikes, Dom.
It's you want to talk about putting butts in seats, brother. Holy smokes. Yeah, should be interesting.
I mean, it only works if he comes out there and they play the Bobby Heenan clip of whose side is he on.
Oh my God. That'd be fantastic.
That's the dream.
Create some angles here. Let's get a story. Let's get a story.
Knowing him, he's probably pitched it. I guarantee you, if Vince was still there would have been a pitch for this to somehow involve something. And knowing Trump, bless his heart, he would have been like, let's get Umaga.
Let's get somebody.
Let's get Umaga back out there. How bad do you think Lashley feels that he wasn't picked? He was Trump's pick before.
That's right. Now he's not.
Now he's not. So this is a weird story that I will not comment any further on because I do not want this show to get canceled.
That's right.
So we will just state the rumor and innuendo. Hulk Hogan would be at the Republican National Convention. Also there, because I saw it on both X and my LinkedIn, Kane and Linda McMahon.
Wow. All right. Well, Kane lights somebody on fire.
Okay. He did. He also electrocuted her son's testicles.
Wow.
So I'm glad that would have been the Blue Chew segment.
They got plenty of opportunity here to make something very entertaining if they want.
Yeah, let's turn this more into a spectacle. Like, it's not bad enough that Trump's running mate is Kevin Owens, but now you got to amp it up even further. This is wild. But what's also wild is the fact that Dominic D'Angelo is the producer of thousands of podcasts. The most important one for today that we'll focus on is Working Stiff, which features myself and Scott Chaplin. We'll be talking all things Dynamite, all things World of Wrestling. You will hear all the profanity that I could not utilize while talking about it here today. And our other co-host, our beloved co-host, Dan St. Germain, on this week's episode of WTF. Go check that out. And go check out Dan's comedy special, Dance Fatty Dance, on YouTube. It's quite fun. And yes, you will see me in the crowd a number of times in there. It's well worth it. What's also well worth it is tuning in every Monday through Friday at noon Eastern for Rumor and Innuendo on a slightly less plethora of platforms, but we're still streaming on the WWE Creative _ish X account, the SE Scoops X account, and on YouTube on Rumor and Innuendo, Working Stiff, and ad-free shows. So on behalf of the Sergeant Pepper himself, Dominic D'Angelo, I'm Robert Karpolis. Best of luck in your future endeavors.
Hey, I need a little help from my friends.